Hello, Feasters! You're listening to The Sporting Feast with Scobes and Kingy. We're reviewing the action from the weekend beginning Friday, 5th of March, our episode, The Countdown. I'm Brendan Scoble, Richard King, wearing a nice little purple pin there. What's that for, Richard?
I think you know, Brendan. Hello, Feasters. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Monday was International Women's Day. So shout out to all the ladies in your life and my life.
Correct.
Who have helped us get to where we are, the high feats of the Sporting Feast. Did you have a good weekend?
I did. It was very good, actually. Had a casual start to the weekend, then a dinner party on the Saturday night. It's interesting you asked me if I had a good weekend. It was fantastic, all bar. There was a half-hour period at this dinner. So I went to dinner with three of my very good mates. One couple there is expecting a child.
Oh, awesome.
And the other two couples already have kids. 2 kids, multiple kids each family.
And then you.
And then me and my beautiful partner. 0 kids, 0 intention of having kids in the foreseeable future. But that's another story. So we're having a great time. You know, drinks are flowing. We're talking about the feast. We're talking about, you know, everything, Meghan and Harry, all these things that are relevant today. And then the new baby chat starts. What hospital will you go to? What the midwife's recommendation is? How to apply the baby to the breast region for breastfeeding. This went on and on for half an hour. It was the worst half hour of a dinner party. Meanwhile, the Brumbies and the Rebels are in a ding-dong battle for supremacy.
Penalty goal from.
Exactly. So I can't get that half hour back, but other than that, it was a really good night. I'm sure you've been privy to these dinners.
But that's, it's just all information for you, Brendan, really, isn't it?
Oh, exactly.
Well, on the contrary, on Saturday evening, I was out with Matt Zanis.
Excellent.
And another feaster, Timmy Smith. And we went to the Pig and Whistle in Brisbane. And, mate, just took note of all the... Obviously, it was Mardi Gras weekend, but also a lot of hens parties out. But, believe it or not, males are getting invited to hens parties now.
Really? Yeah. Ugh. Would you go?
No.
And these aren't, like, sort of best friends. They're just add-ons?
Yeah, well, I didn't have an opportunity to ask a random if that was the case, but we saw 3 separate hens parties where there were males as part of the group that was attending.
You want to go?
No.
Oh, there wouldn't be my go.
No, so we couldn't believe that, and then obviously Mardi Gras was loose, everyone dressed up and all different, I guess, figurines and figures of...
Well, it's promising you remember.
Anyway, Autopsy.
Autopsy time.
I'll do a Brendan Scoble. Autopsy, how good? Richard King, awesome.
Tell the feasters what the Autopsy is for those listening for the first time.
The Autopsy is where we review our best of the weekend and our value play of the weekend. But I also might throw in a sneaky Homesman shout out if anyone got on that. Also might throw out a sneaky Rugby Union multi if anyone got on that.
As you can tell, feasters, Richard had a very good weekend tipping and previewing. So let's get to the Autopsy. Richie, you went 2 for 2.
Yeah, Southampton did a really good job over Sheffield United. Could have been more.
That was 2-0.
2-0. Keeper made some fantastic
One of them
saves.
was a rocket.
Yeah, good finish. Shea Adams. Shea Adams, and then a penalty from Ward-Prowse early on. Kalishnikov.
Yes. Big collect, $6 a bet.
Well, it was an interesting one because obviously the Feasters Brendan's referring to the fact I went the place again. Well, I just wanted...
it won!
My statistics haven't been the best of late, so I thought I needed to play it a bit more safe. I did have something on the win, and I hope Feasters did as well. Mate, it had the blows big time with about 10 before the race.
Okay.
It jumped at $15.
Really?
So it jumped essentially at the price it was before the favourite got scratched.
Right.
Which I couldn't believe.
And it just sat behind the leader, appealed to the outside.
Yeah, and James McDonald, awesome ride on it. And speaking of rides, and I know we'll bring it up later, but Jai McNeil on Homesman as well. That was unreal.
Yeah, classic. Well done.
And you, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Yep, not bad. Jason Day getting it done for the Aussies. That was an easy watch, wasn't it?
Yes.
If you know, he was the only Aussie to make the cut. So
2 rounds in. How good was that?
Wrapped it up. Lucky he did. Did you see his final round?
Yes.
+7.
Well, he already knew he did what he had to for the Feasters. So.
Exactly. And the value play for me, I had the 3-leg racing multi. Savitiano hung on and won in a good race in Sydney, so that got through. But the 2 chariots, seriously, these drivers may find, they're not going to, but they should find themselves in pubs full. Because on the preview, I mentioned they said they'd both be looking to take a sit, and they both came out of the gates flying and, butchered their chances from the get-go. So, yeah, no good there. And for Feasters playing home, if you took all our best and value, it'd be plus 4.2 units for the weekend if I measure them correctly.
Nice.
So turning things around, Richard.
Yeah, and hopefully one brings two and we have another good weekend moving forward, well, especially the first week of Rugby League.
Definitely. Before we get to the headlines, just a reminder about our tipping comps, especially the NRL tipping comp. That will start this Thursday, I believe. So go to our website. We've got a website, thesportingfeast.com. A link is there. It's on our Facebook page on our original post. And I'll try, if I can do this correctly, I'll pin it to the top of the page. And it's also on Instagram, link in bio. So 3 spots there, you can get to it.
We've got 40-plus entrants in both NRL and AFL so far. So
I'm hoping for a little spike pre-season where everyone's scrambling like we do with our Take to the Bank segment. Headlines, and we'll get into the golf. Bryson DeChambeau's won the Arnold Palmer Invitational by 1 shot from Englishman Lee Westwood. Canadian Corey Connors a further 2 shots back there. Richard, what did I tell you about sticking with a player for a number of weeks?
Oh, Bryson.
We'll get to him later in the episode. The course must have been set up pretty hard. The best score on the final round, -1. So I didn't get to catch most of the round, but maybe there was a bit of wind or they just tucked the pins behind bunkers and water and that sort of thing. Jordan Spieth, do you want to mention your buddy?
So he's trying to work out how to mention without.
Jordan struggled again. He was 2 back off the lead going to the final round. He had a +3 today, but he lost it in the 3rd round. In the last 5 holes in the 3rd round, he was +2 when all the other leaders were -2 or better. So, I mean, it looks like he went backwards today, but it was really that 3rd round that cost him.
Yeah, tied 4th finish and obviously a nice ace.
Yeah, so he started the first 3 holes -3 in that round, in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So
another top 5 finish though, so he's going all right.
It's better than missing the cut.
Yes, it is.
Next tournament, previously we mentioned it being the match play. It's actually the Players, so apology there. The Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass in Florida. Big tournament, 48 of the top 50 World Golf Ranking players will be there and purse up to $15 million. That'll be pretty good. Richard, the cricket, New Zealand won the 2020 series 3-2 over the Aussies on the weekend. The Kiwis chased down 142 easily with 4 overs remaining. Martin Guptill doing the damage there, 71 or 46. Did you see Zampa and how he got dispatched?
He used to do that. Oh, it's...
Those that haven't seen it, Zampa got taken for 43 off 15 balls.
But that's what he used to be like early on, and that's how he used to get wickets because everyone would go after him and he'd go for plenty of runs and get 1 or 2 wickets along the way.
You can't go for 3 runs a ball. What do you make of the overall series, Richard? 3-2 loss.
It was good. It went to 5. Obviously, Australia showed good resilience, if you will, to get back to a live fifth rubber, but obviously they'll be disappointed.
None of the players really stood. I don't see any of the players really standing out. Maxwell had a good game here and there, and Agar had that 6-for, but it's a bit of a nothing series in the middle of the year in New Zealand. I don't know what they're up to. Next is the IPL and the 2020 World Cup later in the year. So stay tuned for a bit of Aussie cricket later in this year.
And on that India played England, obviously in the 4th Test match, and that was all she wrote very quickly the last 2 Test matches.
India have just gone, thank you very much, especially after that first game.
Especially that was the big one. England, I'm not sure what to make of it, but India's had a very good last few months of cricket.
What about Pant? He's on fire. He wasn't even picked in the first 2 games in Australia. Came out, basically won him the series in Australia, and now he's doing the same damage over in against England.
He's going well, isn't he?
Taking a leaf out of Adam Gilchrist, but let's hope he doesn't walk. Richard, just quick wrap up on the horses from the weekend. The group racing, Randwick Guineas won by Lions Raw, came from the back. Mo'unga was a little stiff.
Yeah, each way punters will be okay with that. But...
Yep, probably should have won. Hope you're on the winner there. The winner was at a big price. Canterbury Stakes, Savitiano clinging on from Mizzy. Mizzy's one of your little stable.
We had Mizzy and Take It to the Bank a few weeks ago. I couldn't believe that.
What price did you take him and take it to the bank?
It was only $11. Like, this was...
But you had it to win, right?
Yeah.
And then this week it was 60 to 1.
Plus the rest, yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Do we want to mention Bivouac and the the stellar ride from Glenn Boss?
Did your mate Glenn?
3 wide, going back, then going forward. Seriously. Pub is full. Australia Cup, Richard, this is one for you. Homesman in a busy finish.
John McNeil.
Yeah, solid.
He's going very well.
Do you know Steel Prince very well, the horse? Whether it's an on-pacer or not an on-pacer?
No idea, sorry.
Okay. I tipped Steel Prince, and Jamie Carr took it to the front. Now, it's a Melbourne Cup horse, and the second up, it just didn't seem like the right place for it to be. He kicked on well, came 5th or something, but...
Mind you, in saying that, I thought, like I said, I was thinking when I was watching the race, Homesman, I didn't get to see all the racing, but I paid attention to the Homesman race, and it was kind of on pace a little bit as well.
It was on pace.
And when it peeled out, I went, I wonder how much it's got left. And Homesman just...
A bit like McNeil's ride in the Melbourne Cup on... Help me out.
The winner.
The winner. It's good for you. It's accurate as well. You should have got rolling early. If you've got a strong staying horse and you go to the front, get rolling early and try and hang on. I wasn't impressed with J Carr, although she is killing it down in Melbourne. Last one of the Group 1's Newmarket Handicap, Zootori, top weight, got through and came from the dodgy side of the track too. Those Newmarket races with the big fields, often a lot of luck can... a lot of your result can rely on luck coming from a certain gate, and the favourite got buried back.
Yeah, September Run. Zatori, just such an honest horse, eh?
September Run was off the bit quite early.
You should know McNeil's winner in the Melbourne Cup was Twilight Pain.
Yeah, Twilight Pain. I just couldn't remember the...
You tipped it at value. That was sneaky. Your value Melbourne Cup runner.
That's kept me in it for a long way, that thing too.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero!
Richard, EPL. Crazy results this morning. You want to help the feasters out in case they missed it?
Do you want to go negative? Would you like to talk about your team first, or would you like to...
Okay, we'll get on the board and get it out of the way. Fulham 1, defeat Liverpool 0. That is now 6 home losses in a row for the Reds at Anfield. It's an all-time record. I'm not happy, but I've got something because I can stop a train, honestly.
The cooler.
The cooler's in full force.
Goal to Lemina in the 45th minute. It was a great finish, but it actually came from Liverpool mistake. It was hard. Salah, ball bounced high on Salah just outside the 18-yard box. He got, I guess, displaced, and old mate Lemina just pretty good hit, quality. They did have chances. Jota, I think, forced Fulham keeper into probably the best save of the season. Fantastic reflex save, but it's funny, all the stats, the people are coming out of the woodwork, the stats are coming out of the woodwork. I mentioned Jurgen Klopp was a top 3 coach of all time based on his performances at Liverpool and at Dortmund. Obviously, I didn't have Pep Guardiola in there. That was the big one. So
I don't think it's that. Like, we're talking about a 2.5 month run of, terrible form. I don't think you can dispel someone from a top coach all time based on that. But the Reds are trending in a terrible direction. Interestingly, with this result, if it wasn't on the back of 5 others, a 1-0 loss to Fulham in their current form isn't that big of a deal because they're on fire.
But Liverpool just can't do anything right at the moment, and I'd be interested to see what their tactics are around playing, because again the fixtures are so thick and fast with Champions League and with all the other commitments coming up for international players as well. I'd be interested to see what they do with their squad. One thing that our horse whisperer Clint Wallace did point out when they had the opportunity is they probably didn't spend enough time, I guess you could say, improving their backline. And that they've obviously been found out with injuries. And again, people keep forgetting no Virgil van Dijk is a massive out for Liverpool. In the big derby this morning, Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2, goals to Fernandes and Luke Shaw. Fernandes in the penalty spot in essentially the first 30 seconds of the game. Horrific tackle. I don't even know what he was thinking. When I say horrific, I'm not talking about it wasn't damaging injury-wise. It was just the dumbest foul I've seen in a very long time. No idea why Jesus tried to do it, or Jesus, as you like to call him. Luke Shaw, great individual goal in the 50th minute off a keeper release. He went long off. He wasn't playing out from the back. He simply went long and he got him on the counter. Some interesting stats in this game, though, Scobes. 6 shots on target, 12 shots off target, and 66% possession for City. So they're a very good side. Yeah. I think we know that. This is just, as far as I'm concerned, a blimp on the radar, and I don't think there's much for them to be concerned about. The one thing I do want to talk about is the top 4's heating up. Gareth Bale's starting for Spurs now, and he's scoring for fun. Son and Harry Kane connected again for a goal, which now makes them the most threatening duo in EPL history, according to statistics, in terms of goals scored and assists between Sonny and Harry Kane. But the top 4 is wide open. We have Chelsea, who play Everton on Tuesday morning, so feasters will know result of that. We then have Chelsea on 47, Everton 46, Spurs 45, Hammers 45. Hammers play Leeds on Tuesday morning as well. Liverpool 43, and then Aston Villa on 40, Arsenal on 38. Now,
Villa have 2 games.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. So your City, United, and Leicester all have 10 games remaining, and that is the least amount of games remaining, if that makes sense. The other part of that we haven't spoken about in a while, Scobes, is Fulham with this win have gone on. They've gone tied on points with Brighton, who sits 17th in the EPL. So we've got Fulham on 18th and on 26, Brighton on 26th, 17th position, Newcastle 16th on 27th. They have the worst goal difference out of those teams around them. Then we have Burnley on 30, and I think that's where it stops. Southampton's on 33, but I think they're too good. So the biggest thing is when you're a relegation team, you want to drag more teams into it. The reality is if you're a Fulham, a Brighton, a Newcastle, or a Burnley, you're just trying to get as many points as possible. Brighton have had a horror run at the moment. They can't win to save themselves at the moment, and a goalkeeper howler against Leicester cost them in that fixture. And obviously they got heartbroken in the 95th minute against Palace earlier on this month. So a lot to take into consideration there.
Yep, I agree. Just a correction on my behalf. I misrepresented Fulham for West Ham before, so that's what I was talking about when it's not a bad loss to Fulham. I meant it wouldn't have been to West Ham, so it is a bad loss for the Reds.
Fulham have been playing well and they're honest, but they need every point they can get. And Liverpool, just when they're down, they're down. I'm sure people are coming out from the woodworks to get stuck into them. Now, Champions League. Yep, Scopes. So Champions League Wednesday, we've got Borussia Dortmund, Sevilla. These are second legs, which is my favourite because obviously this is where teams you got to go out and gamble, and essentially you got to either force extra time or on the chase. Juve play Porto. Dortmund are up 3-2 on aggregate already against Sevilla. Juve, this is a big one for them because they're down 2-1 at the moment.
Yeah.
So essentially a 1-0 gets them home, but if Porto score,
then it's going
to make things very
That's
interesting.
what I love about the 2-leg away goal scenariyo. That if you park the bus and try and defend to protect that lead, they get an away goal, then you've got to score 2 to get ahead. When that scenario presents, it's really interesting.
And that's what I guess that's the challenging part for Sevilla here. So that Dortmund-Sevilla game should be fun. On Thursday, Scobes, we have 2 more games. So we've got Liverpool against Leipzig, Liverpool at home, and they carry over a 2-0 advantage. And we have PSG hosting Barca. You'd remember they beat Barca 4-1 in Spain. Yes. So they're going well.
Yeah.
I think Barca might struggle there. In terms of tips, I can't see any reason why Liverpool won't go through, even though their form in the EPL hasn't been as good as probably hoped. PSG will go through there. I've got Dortmund. And Juve only need a goal. So Juve only need a 1-0.
Yes.
But it would not surprise me one bit if Porto knocked them over.
Well, cheeky upset there.
Yeah, or even just a draw. Just a 0-0 draw.
You heard it first. Richie's informed, feasters, so get on board.
In regards to A-League, just a few comments. Brisbane Roar 1-1, and they looked pretty good in that game. They were up for most of the game. Wenzel Hall's going in early, and then Sydney FC rallied to get a late goal in the second half there. Perth Glory, this was the perfect example of a game where they just mailed it in. Wellington belted them all over the park. And speaking of beltings, the other comment I was going to make is...
if they mailed it in, what did the Victory do?
Well, that's the thing with the Melbourne City just dominated them. And it wasn't a case of Melbourne Victory played that badly. It's just the case of Melbourne City didn't give them a chance.
But it was, I think, am I mistaken? It was 1-0 at about the 50th minute, then they just went bang, 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 bang.
It was, you're about right. And the first goal that City scored was just a crummy goal off a corner. So I guess you could say a little bit lucky, but at the same time they belted them, so maybe not. And again, we spoke about that. That's the difference between Melbourne City and Victory. Victory's defence isn't the best. They're obviously missing Ryan Shotton, who's been in and out of that team. They do have players who can score and create goals, but again, you need to be able to stop them as well. So again, Scobes, A-League games coming thick and fast. There's been a few midweek games in that A-League as well.
You love your midweek sport.
Just makes the week go quicker.
I agree, if you're allowed to watch it.
Bosh, back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
Into the basketball, Richard. Not too much to discuss here, just the NBA All-Star Weekend. LeBron's team has defeated Kevin Durant's team 170 to 150. Giannis Antetokounmpo, You like that pronunciation, mate? That's
Very
an
good.
easy one. Taking away the All-Star MVP, 16 of 16 from the field, 3 from 3 from 3-land, 35 points in 19 minutes. Not too much defence in this game. As for the 3-point contest, Steph Curry cleaned that one up. That's his second title. He defeated Mike Conley, who was runner-up, came down to the last pill, if I recall correctly, and he just buried it the way Steph Curry does. So congratulations to him, and we'll just sneak into the dunk contest. Wasn't the same for me, Richard, compared to a couple of years ago when Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine were going at it, but Anthony Simmons from the Portland Trailblazers has won the dunk contest. He did have one dunk, which if he pulled off, could have been the greatest dunk of all time. He threw the ball up, came from the left side, left hash, if you like. I want to cross-reference there, Richard. And the ball bounced towards the rim. He threw himself up, grabbed it, and went to kiss the rim as he dunked it. Now, obviously, that's a super gutsy move. You come in too hot, you're missing your 4 front teeth. But he sort of shied away at the end, still completed the dunk, and probably got within 3 or 4 inches of actually. But he was high enough to kiss it. He just didn't put the lips on the rim, which would have been a phenomenal dunk. You imagine the accuracy, the timing, and the courage to do that. But he won the dunk contest anyway, so congratulations to him. NBL, yes, Richard, fire away.
Scobes, it was upsets galore on the weekend, and a big weekend for none other than our Brisbane Bullets.
Yeah, W.
Yeah, well, 2 big W's. Yeah. They were awful in a midweek clash against the Breakers, losing 97-92. They then backed that up. They beat Perth on Friday, 95-92, and then they beat Melbourne United, who's been top of the table, the benchmark, 96-88. Bullets have scored more than 90 in their last 5 fixtures. So they're going all right. Obviously, they play quite deep. Perth, after losing to the Bullets, dismantled the Hawks yesterday, and that was essentially a fizzy game. I was looking forward to that game, and unfortunately, the Hawks just couldn't put it together. And it wasn't even Bryce Cotton that hurt him. It was just contributions from all the Perth team on that side of things. Now, the biggest thing for me is obviously there's 1 week to go in the NBL Cup, and then following which, when that's finished, we'll get Matt Hamilton-Smith's power rankings again. Adelaide had a very important win against Cairns. The reason why I say it's important is Isaac Humphries is missing, and they're still competing. Unfortunately for Cairns, though, that was Hamo's Smokey on his projected winner at the start of the season, and it just hasn't happened for them.
Kingy, so there's no real playoffs in this NBL Cup. Just give us the current ladder and who could take it out.
Yeah, so Perth's on top at the moment. They've scored 29.5 in the NBL Cup rulings. Obviously, you get points for each quarter you win as well as winning the match. Bullets are in second at the moment. They're on 25.5, so 4 points behind. Melbourne are on 25, and Sydney Kings are on 23. That's your top 4 in that section, and probably the only teams that can win that. Obviously, if you win a game and you win every quarter, there's 7 points up for grabs there. So
you can move pretty quickly.
Absolutely. So essentially, you need to win both games, and then hopefully get results go your way in those fixtures. And obviously, it's the last week, so most teams will have 2 fixtures or 3 fixtures to go.
Good stuff. All right, let's get stuck into the Rugby Union, Super Rugby. Australia and the Brumbies with a last-minute win over the Rebels, 27-24, an 84th minute penalty to Lonergan. Not a bad kick, actually, under pressure. Big effort with Alatoa, red-carded in the end of the first half.
That's twice now the Rebels have scored multiple penalty goals with no tries.
Yeah.
Also played against teams who have given up a red card.
Yep.
And have been in winning situations and lost. So the Reds game, they kick 7 penalty goals. This week they kick 8. Maybe next week they kick 9.
Maybe.
But,
I still think they need to be scoring tries. Brumbies scored 3-0. And I said to you before we started recording that I would normally attack the Rebels here for not scoring enough tries, but their run meters and their ball carries were a lot higher than the Brumbies. So that says one of two things. They either not doing things right at crucial stages, and the Brumbies' defence is obviously very good.
Well, they had 8 more clean breaks, 6 more defenders beaten, like you said, 25 more carries, and the big 6 more offloads. Yep. So there's that attacking rugby.
Unfortunately, I missed this game, Richard. That was the baby chat game.
Yes.
As it's known in my memory. The Force defeated the Tars 20-16. Played the last 15 minutes with a man down 2. Andrew Reddy was red card, a bit of a brain explosion there. Did you see it?
Huge. It got back to 1 point, and then the Force were able to ice it with a minute to go.
Did you see the red card from Reading?
I've seen the highlights
Bit of
afterwards.
scrapping, and why you ever clench your fist and put it near anyone's face, given how stringent they are around these regulations and laws. It's ridiculous.
Well, I said this last week with the amount of red cards going on. It's crazy. There's more.
So Alatoa and Reddy, I think if I recall, have got 3 match bans for their infringements. Alatoa with the high tackle and Reddy with the punch. So they'll be sitting. We'll get to some Six Nations and some Super Rugby in next week's episode, but we'll just wrap it up there. We're doing a bit of a short episode this week, or this Tuesday, because we've got a big episode coming with our special guest for Rugby League, which Richard will get to in a sec. Let's wrap things up with pubs full and buy that person a beer, Richard.
I'm trying to be very positive this week. Tim Newbold. How good was Thursday night?
Timmy Newbold. He is the leader for Buy That Man a Beer for the year.
And we probably needed to review what happened. So Feasters, as I'm sure you're aware, last Thursday we had the awesome opportunity of being involved in a dog race, Dapto Race 8.
Not just any race, the Sporting Feast.
The Sporting Feast 520. Now, Tim Newbold was the race caller at the time. We tried to get in contact with him. We didn't think it would have worked. And then as we turn on Sky Racing and listen to the audio, Tim Newbold goes into a bit of a monologue about the Sporting Feast. So Scobes, obviously well done to you to make that happen, and obviously thank you again to Scouse for giving us that opportunity. I was stoked. It made my day.
It was exciting, wasn't it?
And Feasters, if you haven't heard the audio yet, if you go onto our Instagram page at the Sporting Feast, you'll be able to hear it. It's unreal.
And you tipped the winner too.
Yeah, tipped the winner.
Start of a big week.
And obviously shout out to Matt Hamilton-Smith and Scouser.
Yep, and Mike Swenson.
Who got the closest to the trifecta. The 3 got in there.
Yeah, so Scouser boxed the try, and the other guys got first and third in the correct spots.
And I went with the 6, which won, and you went with the 7, which came nowhere.
Well, it was violently attacked by another dog on the first turn.
Yeah.
There's an assault charge coming
34
for sure.
kilos, that's what happens. Force equals mass times acceleration, and
I'm
went flying.
going to sit through Sky Racing one night this week and find the biggest dog ever that wins, and I'm going to send you a little clip, Richard.
But look, that was awesome. So Tim Newbold, you get a beer from me, maybe even 2.
Okay, that's definitely on top. I'm doing a little sneaky double here. Bryson DeChambeau, pubs full, and buy that person a beer.
Interesting.
He gets pub full for winning. Figure this one out, Feasters, and I'll tell you why, because I tipped him 2 weeks in a row. He missed both cuts. Then I jumped off, and he comes out and wins. So remember what I said about following golfers for 4 to 6 weeks. If take my advice, just don't copy what I do. So he gets a pubs full for that. But he also gets bought a beer for the way he's attacking these drives and taking on, par 5s and par 4s. Did you see him cutting this lake up?
I got to see the PGA highlights of it.
Yeah. So in short, Feasters, if you haven't seen it, there's a par 5 at the recent course they played. Big, massive, sweeping left across a lake. And the idea would be to cut half of it and then lay up and then cut the other half to the green. And DeChambeau has just taken on the whole lake. I looked it up. It's a 350-yard carry to get there, and he carried one 360 something. Ended up in the rough, and he's birding it. So for him taking this on, and for not caring what anyone thinks, and everyone having to go at him for being a little different, he's going to be from me.
Well, it paid off in the end, didn't it?
Yeah, well, a W, $1 million, World Golf Ranking points, and FedEx Cup points. I think he's got the last laugh.
And a beer from you after being kicked out.
And a beer, after missing 2 cuts, he gets a beer. So I'll welcome him back into the pub. So Bryson DeChambeau and Timmy Newbold doing well there. Next episode, Richard, fill the Feasters in on our NRL Q Cup special.
It's obviously a big episode, Scobes. So Feasters, there'll be another episode dropping on Wednesday with our special guest Josh Kursavani. He's going to cover. We're taking the angle of referees, so he's going to cover all things reffing. And thank you to those people who've already written in. I've got some wonderful questions about beep tests and which venues are very difficult for refs to attend and which ones they love going to. So that will drop Wednesday. Plenty of I guess, good times and plenty of chats with him. He's also going to give us his preview of the NRL as well as the QRL. And Matty Zanis, a.k.a. Weck, has also given us his crystal ball and preview for the season ahead. Again, Feasters, if you do have any questions, please write into our Instagram at The Sporting Feast or our Facebook page at The Sporting Feast. We also have our AFL episode coming up next week as well. And maybe we'll get to ask Seb Windsor his thoughts on Zach Williams playing one game and getting rubbed out for being a dodgy man.
I'm not allowed to talk on that. It's, bloody blue baggers. Oh, mate, honestly. You think you're on the upward trajectory and then your star recruit does that, honestly. Our normal Friday episode will be previewing a couple of the NRL matches, as we like to do. Super Rugby, Six Nations, some basketball, and some possibly the important EPL fixtures of the weekend. But anyway, short, sharp episode, Richard. We've got to be prepped for tomorrow night.
Yeah, big one. I'm looking forward to it. Feasters, have a great week. Enjoy yourselves. And ciao for now.
Stay hungry.